Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ashes of Creation Introductory Series. We're going to be continuing our breakdowns of each individual archetype and their potential combinations by going ahead with the Summoner archetype. If you haven't already done so, please check out our Ashes of Creation Introductory Series playlist to catch up on the latest and greatest Ashes of Creation information. Now, let's get a better understanding of the Summoner archetype. The Summoner is described as one who is never alone. 2 hands are good, but in the Summoner's opinion, 4 hands are always better. With the right tool for every job, there's no situation they cannot handle. Now, there's not much known, actually there's really nothing known at this time about the specific abilities of the Summoner. So this video is going to go talk a little bit about what we know and what has been said in recent videos. It is known that summoners can basically shift their roles easily to fill just about any gap in a group's composition. It's likely that they can function as a DPS, a tank, as well as a healer, which are your 3 traditional roles when it comes to most MMORPG games and most raid groups, most instance groups. That is kind of the general triangle, with some exception. The Summoner uses many abilities that channel through their summon, and the Summoner is essentially playing through their summon. It is known at this point that Summoners can have up to 3 different summons on the field at any one time, and those abilities from the summons will appear on their hotbar. So they're basically the Summoner themselves, it appears, is not going to have any of all abilities outside of summoning their summons. And then at that point, depending on what they have on the field, they will use those abilities through the summoned unit. For example, if you take a warlock from World of Warcraft and you summon a succubus, a voidwalker, and an imp, your hotbar would consist of things such as Blood Pact and Fireball for the imp. And then it would include things such as the Lash ability for the succubus. And that is likely how the Summoner is going to play. Summoners will exist until another summon is cast, or summons will exist until another summon's cast, or the summon is killed, or until the Summoner is no longer in the game. They log off. And summons can be leveled up as well through the application of certain skill points to the Summoner's active skill tree. So we'll go into skills specifically in another in-depth video about skills and skill trees and what we know thus far. But as a normal class, take a warrior or a fighter for example, that class is going to be able to allocate different talent points to their skills. As a summoner, the Summoner is going to allocate different skill points towards different summons and those summon-specific abilities. Depending on the class and augments a Summoner chooses, they can summon different things. This can include things such as animals, spirits, zombies, skeletons, or necromancy-type creatures, corpses, and some may summon multiple things at one time, or they may choose to summon maybe perhaps one powerful thing, to going for quality over quantity in that case. Augments from a secondary archetype will also be applied to summon, so we'll go over the final class choices for the Summoner momentarily, but you'll see that those classes are likely going to have an effect on what types of things you're going to summon. There's also going to be a mechanic in the game that the creative director of the game discussed, where summoners can collaborate to summon larger summons such as golems. This will be known as a siege summon, and it will have an incremental size based on the number of summoners participating in that summon activity, with that max being up to 8 people. The number of summoners determines the overall size of the summon, and it's known that all summoners must be in the same party, and the party leader must be a summoner, which is a very interesting mechanic when it comes to things like initiating castle sieges, having X amount of summoners in your party, and how you want to allocate resources when sieging a node or sieging a castle, and in partaking in PvP PvP play. We don't know how long it's going to take to complete this type of summon, but we know it does require a substantial amount of effort and teamwork from other real players in the game. Summoners can also change their appearance of their summons through in-game items, cosmetics that will be offered, and potentially through a summon creation suite based on the animal husbandry system, which is one of the professions that's going to be available in Ashes of Creation. So as we said, we have no information specifically on their individual abilities, but we have a lot of information about how the summoner is going to function. And it seems like a very interesting and a very flexible class to play in the upcoming Ashes of Creation Alpha, which it will be available in. Listed on your screen here is the final classes that can be created by a primary summoner archetype. A summoner plus a ranger creates a Beastmaster Hunter. Primary summoner, secondary tank creates what's called a Brood Warden. That sounds like Shelob. A primary summoner and a secondary summoner is a conjurer, which is a fancy word for summoner. A primary summoner and a secondary bard gives you what's called an enchanter, likely more of a support role in this case. A summoner primary and a cleric secondary brings you to the dark side and has you become a necromancer. A summoner primary and a rogue secondary also brings you to the dark side, and you become a shadowmancer. These are likely two classes that are going to be working more towards undead summons. A spellmancer, which is, I think, a made-up word, is a summoner primary and a mage secondary. And then finally, a wild blade is a summoner primary and a fighter secondary. That one sounds like a really cool, think of like a battle mage type class, summoning swords to fight with. I think I'm going to really enjoy the wild blade out of this list of things. Possibly an enchanter, because I think the bard subtype has some of the most interesting potential final classes that we've seen thus far. So, we hope that you have enjoyed this brief introduction to the summoner archetype in Ashes of Creation. For more information, please visit the Ashes of Creation wiki page, which is always linked in the description box below, and you can get information from this video and much more through that wiki page. Please check out our future videos and our past videos on the Ashes of Creation playlist. If you found this video helpful, informational, or just an enjoyable 6-7 minutes, please like, comment, and subscribe below. We encourage discussions, and we've appreciated the uptick in discussion and comments and subscribes in the recent videos. Check us out on other social media and streaming platforms listed below as well, and thank you as always for watching.